and any of the niggas who you was with was gonna let it happen. Now, this was like how to be like an internet thug 101. It's like saying what you could have done and like also saying very public things that you're basically saying, hey, police, here's the evidence if I ever do anything to this guy. So Freddie Gibbs was a internet warrior, just like me, okay? He probably didn't have Twitch, but he had Twitter, okay? And 104.
YouTube family, I'm your God Bless One. Thank you for watching another episode of Ismokehiphop Live. And let me refrain from keep saying Bless One. Let me make sure I say it correctly. DJ Bless One. Look, DJ Akademiks goes in on Freddie Gibbs, and this back and forth seems not to go to a halt at all, and it was somewhat like entertaining. I ain't gonna be fake about it. It was good, it was entertaining, it was all that in a bag of chips, man. Let's start the show and pay the bills by y'all hitting that like button and that notification bell for a real one. Salute to the YouTube family up in this piece. Salute.
He ran out of the car in his sandals. And oh boy, it's your boy DJ Akademiks. Welcome to another episode of Off the Record Podcast. Man, it's gonna be a solo episode, people. Okay, this is a time and a state of emergency that I must declare, because PSA for anyone that doesn't know, it's a time of beef, and in time of beef, you must move a certain type of way. Now, first and foremost, lace up your bootstraps and make sure you put on your helmet. I'm here secure and safe as fuck in my 90 feet underground bunker that's surrounded by adamantium steel, and I got all type of bars by the window because I'm currently going through a beef with a real street nigga. Okay, now it's another one of these rappers. He says he's gonna kill me. Actually, to quote him exactly, he said, yo, I could have smoked Akademiks. I mean, does that mean anything but the obvious? So I'm prepared for war, which means I'm just hiding. Now, like, listen, I'm joking, ladies and gentlemen. In reality, this individual that I'm actually gonna expose, let's just start off by exposing him, okay? We're the same people. We're civilians, except he's portraying a role because he's selling records to do it. Me, I actually bare my soul. I don't care if people call me a bitch at times. Like recently with this Brittany Renner thing, they're like, yo, Ak is a real one. Whatever people call me, you could just say Ak is being himself. But there's a lot of people in music and in rap that live through facades and perception. This guy is definitely one of the biggest frauds. Now, his name is Freddie Gibbs. Okay, that's his rapper name. But his actual name is Freddie Tipton. Now, I gotta give you the history on this guy because you would be shocked if you heard his lyrics. I know you'll never listen, you'll never Google it. You won't even look here on Spotify to find it. But if you hear his music, you would think that this guy has 100 bodies. He's moved thousands of kilos of coke, meth. He's the biggest drug dealer since Pablo Escobar, but such is the case with many of your favorite rappers who are portraying and lying to you about who they really are. Now, after I realized this guy had real issues with me, I had to do some investigation, okay? Ironic, ain't it? I had to figure out who he really was. Is he really like that? Because I pride myself. To win every battle, you must know your opponent. You gotta know who you're going against, all right? For example, if I'm beefing with, I don't know, Lil Durk and them, I'm not even gonna be tweeting at them niggas, okay? I'll be enlisting the help of the police and the FBI to make sure I'm safe, okay? Because them niggas are actually about that shit. Listen, when I was going back and forth with Young and Ace, the moment Young and Ace said, hey, you like my song, I was like, yeah, I do. I didn't want to beef with no Young and Ace. Young and Ace, they're real steppers in Jacksonville. I don't want to go back and forth with them, okay? Listen, there's some real characters within this hip-hop stuff that you realize that what they're rapping about, they're actually about. However, there's still a few fake-ass gangsters, basically civilians who are portraying to be gangsters, and we got one today to expose. It's Freddie. Okay, now Freddie Tipton, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm giving this government name and giving the history of him. His father is a police officer. Now, I just want to paint the irony of this whole thing. A kid who grew up playing with his father's badge, handcuffs, police uniform, and gun, and also took allowance that came from his father's police salary, said, what should I do with all of these things at my disposal? He went to a fucking studio to make up a fake persona of being some type of gangster. Now, listen, it's the reason why they say opposites attract, right? The guy basically grew up in a household where a police officer is his father, but he's still intrigued and enthralled by the lifestyle that supposedly the people his father is trying to catch on a daily basis live. So he goes to the studio, he's rapping all these DuckTales, you know what I mean? Like, he's moving all his weight. You listen to his music, this motherfucker talking like, yo, like, listen, he know the real Noriega, okay? He been moving weight across the Atlantic, across the Pacific. Like, this nigga is talking the talk, okay? Not to mention that, if you listen to his music, you would think this is one of the most violent motherfuckers known to man. Probably 100 bodies under his belt, okay? Again, this guy is just like Akademiks, civilian. But in rap, it's all about fooling the audience. Now, let me tell you what ended up happening with him, because I'm going to give you the story of Freddie Gibbs. So, Frederick Tipton, okay, aka Frederick Gibbs, he gets into rap by rapping all these fucking lies. People kind of believe it. Now, the people near where he grew up at, because he grew up in like Gary, Indiana, who's really from the hood, and this is how it works in most places. The hood will see you like, yo, you a bitch ass nigga, you're not really about it, but we'll give you a pass as long as they can get a check off of you, okay? So they align with Freddie and they're getting a check off Freddie. And by the way, if you want to go Google it, you'll see them actually telling the facts. At a point, his quote-unquote hooders with him saying, yo, he's a real one. Everything he rapped about, he did. Now, clearly they were lying for him, okay? Now, as soon as he stopped paying them, they told the truth. Yo, this guy never did nothing that he rapped about, and now that he stopped paying us, let me give y'all the goddamn truth. Now, I'm only giving that context to say this. He gets into rap, and because he's not who his music is portraying himself to be, or who he is not what his music is portraying, he runs into issues when he starts sneak dissing other rappers. And what did motherfucking Chief Keef say, man? Sneak dissing, that's that shit I don't like. Now, you was sneak dissing a rapper named Jim Jones. Y'all should know him, he's from New York. Sneak dissing him on Twitter. Yes, even in 2014, 2015, Frederick Gibbs was a internet warrior, just like me, okay? He probably didn't have Twitch, but he had Twitter, okay? In 140 characters, he would say the meanest and worst things about you. He would say everybody else's music was trash. He would say that niggas wasn't as real as him. But of course, here's the difference between me and him. I'm in my nice little bunker. I ain't gotta go outside. He had to go and do shows. So he was doing a show at a record store. Like, literally, the record store could only hold about like 20 people. I kid you not, go look this up. He did the show, but it was in, I don't even know if it was the hood of Jim Jones, but it was definitely in New York. And I don't know if Jim Jones had anything to do with this, or maybe somebody who knew Jim Jones, like, you know, felt the need to kind of handle a situation, because it was a rapper basically calling Jim Jones pussy and basically saying Jim Jones is trash. Maybe somebody felt they had to do something about it. But after he performed in this record store in front of 20 people, he was in a car and a bunch of people shot it up. Okay, now he wasn't shot, his two homies were shot, right? He ran out of the car in his sandals. And I know this story gets a little dark because I don't really want to go all the way there, but in reality, his quote-unquote sneak dissing and internet antics got his man's shot. Now, did he stop? Did he learn his lesson? No, he didn't. Went back online, kept doing the same things, except he was a little bit more smarter, okay? He was picking and choosing his actual targets, and until I said a very harmless comment about him, and by the way, if you don't know him as well, he was with Jeezy at a point. So he was with and signed to Young Jeezy. They fell out. He hated Jeezy for whatever reason, and he continues to hate him. But while I was on Everyday Struggle, like around like 2018, 2019, I made a comment that, yo, why is he sneak dissing Jeezy? Now, he's been sneak dissing people for years. I told you what happened when he sneak dissed another rapper. But Jeezy, who's trying to be removed from a lot of stuff, he's trying to live a better life, he has not responded to the likes of Freddie Gibbs. Now, me calling that out, saying, hey, yo, you shouldn't be dissing, sneak dissing Jeezy. Also, he called Jeezy relevant. Essentially, Jeezy sold the same amount that he sold. So I said, if Jeezy's irrelevant, you're irrelevant. And that triggered Young Frederick. Now, Young Frederick has been overtly threatening me since about like 2019. Now, listen, I'm not sitting here playing victim and be like, oh my God, help me out. But I just want to point this out. The guy who we're talking about, who had his whole career funded by his father, who was a police, right? Who also sneaked this another rapper till him and his homies got shot. They did nothing about it. By the way, they know who did it. They know all that, those facts. Did nothing about it. Is now trying to pick and use his platform, which is still Twitter, to intimidate me. Okay? Now, we went back and forth, and this is where I'm gonna be so honest, and I've learned a lesson in this. We went back and forth in, I believe, like 2020, last year. And when we went back and forth on Twitter, I'm gonna be honest, I think this motherfucker got me. And I'm gonna tell you why he got me. Because I forgot the fundamentals that made me me and what made me win on the internet. When he was getting at me, I was triggered by certain shit. I was super, upset. And if you know anything about the internet, the person who cares the least or seems to care the least or seems the less triggered wins. It's not who has the best argument. And for whatever reason, maybe just coming off of being on Everyday Struggle, I thought it was the points that counted. Fuck the points. You've seen it in actual beef when it came to like Drake and Meek. Yes, Drake did have a dope ass diss song, but of course, he clowned Meek to death. That's really what won the beef, the memes. So, Freddie Gibbs is fucking killing me with memes. I'm trying to kill him with facts, but nobody gives a fuck. The memes are too funny. So, I could be honest. I was down bad. Plus, the Chrissy Teigen thing had just happened. Complex is looking at me like, damn, yo, we're getting a lot of pressure because we got our own, sexual harassment thing going on here. I get suspended, not fired, suspended. And I'm like, damn, as much as I like going back and forth with whoever wants to go back and forth with me, I have to chill. I can't go back and forth with this motherfucker no more. So I was down bad. I was 0-3 to this guy, Freddie Gibbs. Now, again, this is why I'm really clowning this dummy now, because I think he lost the 3-0 lead. I've never seen this before. Unless, did the Cavs come back from 0-3 with the Warriors? Anyway, I went to LA like last week. You guys saw, I interviewed everybody. Aiden Ross, Soulja Boy, DJ Vlad, Adam 22, Van Lathan. And when I came back to the East Coast, Frederick Gibbs, who apparently is trying to promote a project, just randomly name drops me. He's like, yo, Akademiks, nigga, I knew when you was in LA. I knew the spot you was at. I could have pulled up on you, and I could have smoked you. And any of the niggas who you was with was gonna let it happen. Now, this was like how to be like an internet thug 101. It's like saying what you could have done and like also saying very public things that you're basically saying, hey, police, here's the evidence if I ever do anything to this guy. So I had to realize this guy is nothing but an internet thug. But then I realized why I was down 0-3 from the last time. He's a troll just like me. So I realized one important thing. I was taking this nigga too serious. He wasn't gonna do anything. It's Frederick Gibbs. He's never done anything in his goddamn life. He's been a victim, if anything, okay? He got shot at, gave a statement. His father's the police. He probably told his father, like, hey, listen, go investigate this shit. Niggas are shooting at me. For all we know, this guy could be a goddamn undercover officer. His father was one. What the fuck? So what I realized, and I'm so proud of myself for this, because I took it in a much lighter-hearted stance, and I'm just clowning the whole thing out. You know what I mean? He's still trying to send threats, and again, obviously I take every threat serious, but this is just a goofy trolling for attention. That's it. It's goofy trolling for attention. He eventually told me that he wants, labels pay for your promotional attention, so if I could troll you and get it for free, like I'm winning. And I looked at him and I said, well, if you feel like me telling the whole world that you're not who you are saying in your raps and that you're a fraud is me promoting you, okay, you've won. But it's sad that in 2021, the gangster rappers and rappers like Freddie Gibbs feel they have no other outlet other than to troll internet dweebs or bloggers for attention. Again, if it works, good for him. I just don't think it's gonna work. Regardless, Freddie Gibbs, man, I had to check out as soon as you asked me what that mouth do. Brother, you're 40, okay? Balding, you literally look like a milk dud. You look like Lil Bill. You should have said that, like, when you're tweeting out 2013 Charlemagne-esque jokes, like, I realize you're burnt out, brother, okay? And then he later said that, yo, you know what? I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just gonna see you. That's what you should have done in the beginning, dummy. You should have said that to yourself in the mirror 3 times and not tweet it out. But you look stupid because you went on Twitter trying to be a tough guy, and you never thought that the person who you felt was the least threatening to you would ever tell you, shut the fuck up and do it, okay? Again, if this is a lesson to anyone, just don't overplay your hands, because somebody will call you bluff, all right? Anyway, we definitely got to talk about
high hip hop, Triple H, hey.
Still a few